The cost of calling someone the N-word tonight. A New York federal jury has ordered the owner of an organization to pay a former employee $280,000 in damages after he called her the N-word multiple times. Now, for the first time, you're going to hear exactly what happened because the rant is captured on tape. Here it is.
Seriously, you guys are alike. Smart as shit, but dumb as shit, really. Both of you, you know what it is? Both of you are and I'm not saying using the term derogatory, because sometimes it's good to know when to act like a but y'all act like this all the time.
I'm really offended by that. I don't think that I do.
You could be offended, but it's true.
The jury also rejected the defense's argument that using the N-word was culturally acceptable in this case because both the woman who was called it and the man who called her it are both black. Now, the N-word and when, if ever, it's appropriate to use is a topic, of course, we've talked extensively about on this program. Out front tonight, legal analyst Sunny Hostin and Columbia University professor Mark Lamont Hill. Okay, great to have you both with us. Mark, Brandi Johnson was the plaintiff, the woman that you hear there saying, I find this offensive. She explained to CNN earlier today why she brought this case against her former boss. Here's Brandi.
He called me the N-word 8 times, and I protested, I said, I don't appreciate it. I'm offended that you're calling me such. It was a hurtful experience for me. It was extremely hurtful. I was extremely offended.
Jury obviously sided with her that it was inappropriate, $280,000 in damages that she's going to get. Is this the right outcome?
It's tough. And hearing it, I have a slightly different opinion than when I just read it, right? There's a different texture and context. Language is always about context. Right. Clearly, the boss was inappropriate. Clearly, the language was offensive and abusive. But I do think that it doesn't rise to the level of discriminatory. I don't think that's what the boss was doing. And on the tape, when she said, I'm offended, she didn't say, I'm offended that you called me the N-word. She said, I'm offended because I am not that. He was saying using the N-word.
But she was actually disputing that she was acting that way, as opposed to it itself being.
So I don't think she read it as a racial epithet. I think she was reading it as a descriptor of something that is bad and lazy and inappropriate. Again, there's racism underneath that, but I'm saying I don't think that that's exactly what he intended.
Right. And now let me ask you, Sunny, because the employment
I'm floored.
You're floored. Okay, go ahead.
I'm floored. And Mark and I are friends, and we know each other quite well, and I always value your opinion, Mark. But the bottom line is this word can't be retooled. It can't be reshaped. It shouldn't be used by anyone. And the court, I think, and the jury spoke rather firmly that when you find a hostile work environment, as this jury did, that this conduct, these terms are offensive objectively. That means across the board. That means they can't be used by black people, they can't be used by white people, they can't be used by purple people, they can't be used by anyone. And that really is, I think, this is sort of reflective of where our society is right now. The law is a pendulum, right? And it swings into telling us what's appropriate. The N-word needs to be retired. It's not appropriate anywhere in any context.
But can the courts, Mark, decide whether a word is usable or not? I mean, Sonny may be right. It may be just a totally wrong word to use, but the court saying you can or can't use any given word?
Well, to the extent that it constitutes a hostile work environment, absolutely. And again, clearly that boss was being abusive, right? And there are a million other names he could have called her that would have made it equally abusive. All I'm saying is that his use of it is not what they had in mind when they came up with this. In other words, if a white boss had said this to her, I think there would have been a different thing underneath it.
Oh, well, this would have been not even a discussion.
But why is it different?
Well, because I think context does matter. I mean, the N-word is used in different ways in different places.
And it shouldn't be, though. It's a racial epithet. It's hate speech. It's hateful language.
But is it okay, Mark?
It always is. So yes, it always is. There's a bright line there.
You actually think that it's always hate speech?
Absolutely.
When people in everyday conversation say, hey, you're my N, and they use the N-word, you actually think they're engaging in hate speech?
Absolutely.
Well, see, and I guess I find that floors me. We're both on the floor now because, for me, context always matters.
So you think there are times where it's okay?
Yeah, I mean,
if both people using the word or receiving the word are black, to use the word.
Absolutely. And it's not just because they're black. I'm saying context matters. The meaning underneath the word does matter. I think we need to set objective standards in places like work. I think we should have a rule at jobs that you just shouldn't use the N-word. I'm fine with that. But I don't think it rises to the level of discrimination. That's what I'm saying. And I don't think she thought so either. I think she got that on tape and realized that she could make some money because there are a bunch of people in the world who would like to believe that black and white are opposite sides of the same coin, and they would love to say that black people can't use the N-word, and she seized on that and got a nice...
You can't have one set of rules for one racial group, and you can't have another set of rules for another racial group when it comes to using a racial epithet. It's objectively offensive, and I'm very, very happy that the jury spoke loudly and clearly and disagreed with you, my friend Mark.
Well, she got $280,000. Now, I want to just make sure we read here, of course, what the defense said in terms of that, what they're going to do about this. Diane Krebs, the attorney, released this statement. We're disappointed by the verdict as we don't believe it comports with the full facts applicable to the case. Nevertheless, we respect the jury's decision and the judicial process. We are exploring all our options moving forward, including appeal, and look forward to the judicial process taking its entire course. Obviously, it looks like there will be an appeal, but we'll see.
I think this will be precedent, actually.
I think so, too. And I think it's a dangerous one. I think I literally think they are ruling away social context in an entire history in America that matters.
And a hateful history at that.
Absolutely. It's a hateful history. And I think it's not going to be erased if we do it, if we handle it like this.